everyone, welcome back to Studio 33 Art by Kay. Yesterday I posted a photo of a beautiful piece that I had done using the Mont SuperCell pouring paint, and I also used the Vallejo Pearl Medium and created a beautiful piece with lots of cells doing a spiral pour, which I then did a reverse flower dip by putting a serviette down and pulling it up. So I hadn't done a video of that, and a lot of people have asked me if I could do one. So today I thought what I'll do is I'm going to do one a little bit different. Instead of doing the spirals, which I will do a video of that for you in the next week or so, but today I want to show you how to do a bottle bottom pour, which literally I've just taken a Coke bottle and I've cut the bottom off it, and as you can see it's got the little grooves, and I'm going to pour the paint into the center of that and let it run off. I've learnt this by watching Fiona from Fiona Art on YouTube. She is the queen of doing this particular technique, so if you want to see some more of that, go onto her channel. And what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to use the Mont pouring paint SuperCell again. The base I'm going to just do Mont pouring paint that's not SuperCell, just because I want to put a base down. So I'm going to do the pink in the hope that as a base, in the hope that when I lift it, some of that pink will show through. So we'll soon see. So I'm just going to use the black SuperCell, the gold, the navy blue, the titanium white, and I've also mixed together the navy blue and titanium white to get this paler blue, just for a point of difference. So what I'm going to do with those today is I'm not going to use the Vallejo Pearl Medium, as I say. I'm just going to use the SuperCell white, just to see if I get as many cells as what I did yesterday, although the technique is slightly different in that I'm not doing the spirals. I'm actually doing the bottom pour instead. So we'll see what happens. You can watch with me and we can learn together. So I'm just going to put my gloves on to protect my nails that I had done the other day. Very pretty, and I don't want to wreck them, which I normally do. So the first thing I'm just going to do is lay down the pouring paint Shiraz, which is my favorite pink. And this is just a piece of MDF, it's an MDF placemat that I think I bought from Spotlight, which is one of our homeware stores here in Australia. They're great for practicing on, they're not expensive, and you can turn it into a placemat, or you can put it into a piece of art that you can put on one of those little easels. Lots of different things you could do. You could make it into a trivet or table centerpiece. So, as I say, great little functional piece of art. So first I'm going to just lay this down. Now the beauty of using these pre-mixed paints is that you're not having to learn about the consistency or work out the consistency. A lot of people say to me, you know, how do I know the consistency that I need? Well, for this particular pour, the Mont pouring paints are the correct consistency. For some different techniques, you need your paint a little bit thicker and others a little bit thinner. But for what I'm doing here today, for this technique, those paints are just right. So if you want to mix up your own paints as well, if you've used these paints, you can sort of get the idea of what the consistency should look like, if you know what I mean. Okay, so I just want to do just enough so that when I'm pouring the paint over the little bottle bottom, it will just be able to flow. Otherwise, one colour quite often will roll over the top of another. We don't want that to happen. I'm just sort of trying to coat the edges here as well, just get a bit of paint on the edges. I can fix that up later though. So I'll just give that a quick little spin, just to level it out a bit. And a quick hit with my heat torch just to burst those little bubbles that I can see. When you're using one of these little brulee torches, just make sure you don't hold it on to the spot for too long, otherwise you could end up catching fire to your piece if you held it on too long, and we don't want that. And on that subject, make sure you've always got a fire extinguisher in your art room for that very reason, or at least one of those fire blankets or something like that that you could quickly put any flames out if necessary. It's never happened to me yet, but there's always a first time. Okay, so that's not particularly smooth there, but it will be fine. So I'm just going to, if I get one of my little skewers here and go from one side to the other, pick it up and go the other way. Where it joins in the middle there, that should be halfway, hopefully. Get that in the center. Close enough to the center is good. Right, so the first color I'm going to lay down will be what? The gold, I think. Remembering that whatever you put down first will get pushed to the edge. So you just literally start pouring into the center of your little bottle bottom. And let that start to run down. Next I'll go black, I think. And I always find it difficult to get it exact so that you get it running evenly, but it doesn't matter. In nature, nothing's ever perfect, is it? Especially not me. And then I'm going to put the navy blue. Oh, I like those together. Navy blue. And then some of the white to separate the two blues. And sometimes we use a little dessert cup too that you can buy online. That's great for doing these as well. Whoops, oh dear, that was clever. Fix that up in a sec. It's just the paler blue. Doesn't look like I've mixed it up particularly well. Give it another shake. I just need to get rid of this. So I'll just try to dab it off. I might need to scrape it off actually. It wasn't very clever at all. Always be careful to try and do things away from your piece. Bit of wipe. Just get all that off there. I just don't want it to interfere with my pattern. May not have made much difference, but I don't want to risk it. Just spread a bit more out on there. That's better. Okay. Now where were we up to? So a little bit of black. Don't want to have too much of the black on there. A little black goes a long way. Now I'll go gold. I'm doing these in no particular order, just how I feel at the time. And as I say, you can use this with any paints that you want to. Just get the right consistency. So you want your paint to be not too thick, not too thin. If it's too thin, it'll all muddy. If it's too thick, it won't flow. And now, white. So it's interesting to see how we go, the fact that I haven't used the Vallejo this time, to see how the cells look. Tiny bit of black. Some more gold. Navy blue. A bit of the white. And a bit of my other blue. Now, if you want this paint to also creep underneath, you can do little slits in your bottle bottom to let the paint run in. I haven't done that today because I'd like that sort of pink centre a little bit, and I will drag the paints in there as well. So I think I'm just going to leave that now like that. I might actually finish off with a little bit of the pink into the centre, even though it doesn't have any of the SuperCell in it. I'll just let that run off a little bit. So I've just got my paper napkin and some water, and I'll spray that down in a minute to wet it down. But first, I'm just going to very carefully try and lift that off and out of the way. Now I'm just going to use my skewer to draw some lines. So I'm just going to go out to start with. It's always difficult to know how many rounds of paint to do, but it really doesn't matter that much. It's out. Now I'm going to come in here to the centre. And you can just experiment, and every time you do it, you'll get something that looks a little bit different. Bit of a wonky hand there. Okay. Just hit that with my heat tool just to burst any bubbles. And now I shall just dampen down my serviette. I just got paint all over it. I'll just get another serviette, won't you, Seth? I'll just take my gloves off for this. It's easier to pick it up without the gloves on. So I just have to hope I don't wreck my nails too much. Okay, so I'm just going to wet the serviette down just with a spray of water. And that just helps it to sit nicely onto the paint and to make contact better than if it's dry. Okay. So just fold it in half. Just need to wet it a little bit more. And then I'm literally just going to place that in the centre as well as I can, like so. Then open it out, place it down, and see here I've got a big bubble there. So I just want to make sure that it's making contact everywhere. I didn't have a lot of the pink down, so I might have to replace a bit more of that pink once I've done this. I'm loving that actually. And if it's not making contact, it's not going to lift properly, so you really do need to just gently touch it and make sure it's making contact. I think it is now. Maybe not everywhere in the pink, but that doesn't matter so much. Okay, so lift your corners. This is a very big serviette actually, or paper napkin. Then bring your other corners up to the middle as well, and try not to move it, because the more you move it, the more it's going to skew your pattern underneath. to try and be as steady as you can. It's not always that easy. Okay, and now I'm just going to try and lift straight up. Okay, not too bad. I love it when you can actually press what you've just taken off onto something else and get a lovely pattern as well. I should have had something ready. I've got a little tile here. I'll just press down onto that and see what happens. Pretty. Just keep dabbing it until it's covered. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. Okay. Right. So now that hasn't gone too bad at all, actually. And look at those cells. Ooh, ooh. So I'll just get my gloves back on. So that's really held its shape nicely. Probably could have done a few more rows of colour and brought it out a bit further. Just move that guy out of the way. Right, so just bring that centre back into the centre a bit better. Just do a little finger pop. Right, so I'm just going to give it a little spin. Might actually replace some of the pink first though, because it did get very thin when I did my lifting. So I'll just get that back in again. It'll just help it to flow a bit more, a bit better. So people are asking where to get these Mont paints. Now I'm not affiliated with them in any way. It's just that I've enjoyed doing it and also been able to teach people, you know, that they don't have to have fancy recipes or anything to be able to, you know, do some nice art. But the Mont is available through montmart.com.au, and I do believe that they ship overseas. So hopefully you'll be able to get your hands on some of that. It's not terribly expensive. Okay, so I'm just going to spin out again. Now, have I got it on there level? Because if you haven't got it on there straight on your, it'll go, see how it's going more one way than the other, and it's probably because I've got that further over. Haven't got it level on my board. Would have helped if I'd put a clean plastic underneath. I could have made sure that I was more level. Give it a little tilt, bring it back the other way a little bit. Okay, let's see how we go. This guy definitely wants to go first. I'll move it that way, see if I can get that to stop going over. Pick it up and move it around a bit. Okay. Well, I wouldn't call it a resounding success. It's got lots of cells in it. If I'd used the Vallejo, I might have got more lacing rather than those silicone looking cells. But it's still nice. So I'm just going to take my skewer and go out again. This guy's really expanded. What you can also do then is just do a bit of modification around the edges, just to make it a little bit more interesting. You know me, I love to do a little bit of modification. Can't help myself. I'm loving where I did that blue, the pink in the middle. And I am wondering what the Vallejo would have done. So next time I do this technique, I'll do the same thing, but I'll use the Vallejo Pearl White just to see what will happen. Now with these little cells, you can draw a skewer through there as well, just to get some nice little patterns. Just to, you know, do something a little bit different in there. Just wherever you see one that you'd like to do that. Now this is annoying me that it's come out so far, so what I'd like to do is, I'm just going to scrape a bit of that off. Just to even it all up a bit. Okay, get my pink. Fill that in. Get the skewer. Bring it out again. Do my twirly whirlies. Okay. And let's give it a tiny bit more spin. Now the reason why that's not flowing perfectly is because my base wasn't nice and flat. I should have spun it out a bit more. And so it's got some ridges, and that's why this is happening, because those ridges are stopping that from being able to flow evenly. So it is important to have your base nice and level. Oops, just pick that up and Try and get it just to move a little bit more the other way. Just create a center again. Particularly with the center there, so I'll just create a bit more of a center. That's a bit better. Okay, well I don't think I'll spin it out too much more because it's starting to lose its shape a bit. They're going a bit skew-whiff. What do you think, guys? I'm not sure. This is at this point where I quite often just suddenly go, nah, and I'll start pouring over the top of it and do something different. I'm almost tempted to dip it again. Just try. I think I'm just going to do a spiral pour over the top of it. I'm just not loving it that much. So I'm just going to use the same colours. I won't use the pink. I'm just going to do a spiral over the top. And those colours can still come through a little bit. So just going straight over the top. So this is back to how I did the one yesterday that I didn't do the video of. Just literally doing spirals of the different colours. But I won't be using the Vallejo, I'm just going to use the ordinary white. So if that didn't have the other colour underneath where I've done the previous pour, all you need to do is just have a base down and then do your spirals. It ends up just like a great big lollipop. I'll do the gold. These bottles they get quite hard to squeeze after a while. So you don't have to be exact with this, just pour it. Oops, starts to hurt your hand. Around we go. Make sure I've got it all the way out to the edge. I've got both blues. I need the white. Now the pink from underneath will come through anyway. But I think I would like just to put a little bit on there. Just to make sure, because it's so pretty, that colour. And it doesn't have any of the SuperCell in it. It's just the plain Mont pouring paint. Yeah, will I put any black? Ugh. There is some black coming through from the previous layer. So I think I might just leave it like that. Maybe just put a little bit more of the dark blue, I think. Navy blue. I want it to be a bit more blue than anything else. Oh. Okay, so there's your lollipop. Now I'll just get a serviette. Take my gloves off. They're getting very sticky now. And I'll get a tile ready just to press onto as well, so as not to waste so much paint. So just burst some bubbles. Keep away from your paper napkin, which could set on fire. Okay, so I'm just going to damp down my serviette or paper napkin, depending on which part of the world you come from. I think I've made that pretty wet actually. Okay, so I'm looking for the centre as much as possible. And I'm just going to try and lay this as flat as I can into the centre. It's very difficult to get it. This napkin's quite large. Probably a bit too large. It's best if you can have your napkin around about the size of the piece that you're covering, really. Now just again press it down. We'll see what we're going to get. That's pretty well everywhere. And the best part is when you lift it up to see what happens. It's just super exciting. It always gives me a thrill to do that. Okay, here we go. Up to the centre. And your other corners. See some lovely cells forming there this time. I think this technique with the spiral seems to work better with this paint than doing the bottle bottom pour. But at least you've seen how to do that one now. Oh, look at those cells. Okay, now I'm going to try and come straight up if I can. Oh, that's really pretty. And now I'm just going to dump that right in the middle of that tile. Dab it a few times, make sure I've got it all covered. That's pretty too, isn't it? Really pretty. Okay. Wow, that's super pretty. Oops, so I better just get another pair of gloves actually. I had hoped to have covered the pink a bit better, but clearly I didn't. So I'll try and just do a small spin. Move this guy out of the way. Have a look at that though. How pretty is that? That's just from the paint that I dabbed, as you saw. So just burst any bubbles and help to bring up any more cells. Get my little centre going there. Now, am I level on this board? There's that line there. There it goes. It's coming around there. It looks like I've got it pretty right. Okay, gentle spin. Try again. This is coming into a bit of resistance here again. Not sure why. It's what I do sometimes when that happens is I just get the little mini blower and just blow the edges a little bit, and it just helps to get rid of any of those bits that have had trouble moving, like here. Well, it's certainly an explosion of gold and blue and pink. A little bit of black, a little bit of white. You're not getting the definition that I got yesterday with the rings so much. Probably because of me pouring it over the top of the other one. But it's still really interesting. What do you think, guys? Too many cells? Wondering if I should just do a spiral through it or leave it like that. It's not looking like a flower, but you can now, if you like, draw some petals. So I can go into the centre there. I've got the flat end of my skewer and just gently draw. If I go either side. A little balloon kiss in the middle. I think I'll just leave it now. You can keep fiddling forever, but I'll do some more of these another day. And in the meantime, you got the basic idea of how I did the one yesterday with the spirals and lifting up the serviette. So I'll now just bring you down for a close-up. So here we are coming down for the close-up. It's just a myriad of cells and a bit of an explosion. Now yesterday when I did the one with the Vallejo, where I'd gone around in the spiral, you could really see the spiral. Sort of showed the more of a petal shape. Today, because I didn't use that, it's more just all in, but it's still very pretty. I mean, look at all those cells. If you love cells, which my partner Steve does not, but if you do, then this particular paint, it's a different type of cell to what you get if you're using your little piggies and doing a swipe. But it's still really, really interesting. Just look at those cells there. Very pretty. So this will make a lovely little table centerpiece once I've resined that. Just here, where I've gone through the skewer, the paint hasn't quite run back together. I've pressed a bit hard, but it will come back together. That's coming back together now. So there you go, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. Sorry it took a bit longer than I wanted it to, but you've seen the process, and now hopefully you'll have a go at doing something similar and can see that really, you know, anyone can do it. Okay, so I'll see you back here in Studio 33 in the not too distant future. Until then, stay safe. Bye-bye.